Return to the world of the ancient Mediterranean, a place where men carve empires with their bronze swords and brave any danger for gold. It is here that the cities of Troy and Crete clash, their fate resting in the hands of the Viking prince, Ragnar. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Hembar. Today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Farnham bishops and Arthur Gilchrist Broduers in the grip of the Minotaur. Grip of the Minotaur is a serialized novel by Farnham Bishop and Arthur Gilchrist Brodeur, who often tag-teamed things. Now, this came out originally in 4 issues of Adventure magazine, which is a pulp magazine of historical adventure. This was the August, September, October, and November 1916 issues. Yes, it is that old. Anyways, I thought with something being this old and having such a cool concept, well, I thought that would be awesome. So it is historical fiction, not really fantastical elements, really, but it does provide an explanation to the downfall of the Minoans and the ruin of Knossos on Crete. The answer? Not some mythical Atlantis myth, but that of the Northman and his journey to the Mediterranean in 1400 BC. Of course, this is dubious. I don't really need to say that. But anyways, it's set during this mythological epoch. Minos is king in Crete, and Dardanus in Troy. There's, of course, again, the dubious Northmen. There's Goths from present-day Sweden is what they seem to be. Protagonist is the leader of this band, one Ragnar, who wields the magical sword Tyrfing, who you will see, or that sword you will see show up in many a tale. Anyways, he is a sort of chivalric pre-Conan, a noble savage to those of the Troyad. From the north, he becomes an ally of sort to Troy, which is a dissatisfied vassal of Crete. Dardanus wants to bypass certain trading middlemen, along with destroying Crete's fleet so he can get more riches. Minoan civilization was, only realized in 1900 when it was discovered in the Palace of Knossos, which was fully excavated in 1903. That's pretty recent news to the authors at this time, and I really liked their take on the downfall of this important but rather enigmatic link to the chain of civilization. While this culture would actually not be Germanic, so to speak, the sound changes to get the Germanic branch of Proto-Indo-European would happen at least a few centuries later. This would be people of the Nordic Bronze Age culture, actually, which, interestingly enough, for those unaware, was actually the richest culture in Europe at the time, and did export amber to the Mycenaean Greece, which is part of the plot here. Actually, that's what they are coming to sell amber. But they could be speaking some pre-Germanic, which is more like a dialect of Proto-Indo-European. And that's exactly what Ragnar trades here, is this amber. It's not super far-fetched in that, as far as those relations go. But now the downfall of the Minoans is a bit more dubious. It's still really fun, though. And there are 2 appendices, the second by Brodeur, who was quite an accomplished Germanic philologist, like Tolkien. His most famous work for that is The Art of Beowulf, which is a direct response to Tolkien's The Monsters and the Critics essay. It is a full book, though. But this essay by Brodeur at the end is a succinct 1-page essay. It explains the Nordic Bronze Age and its relation to the Mediterranean. And while it's cool about the Norsemen, there's an absence of, say, someone like the Hittites, who are right next door and would shortly gain their greatest amount of power. And that would have been so cool to have the Hittite stone in there as well. I'm not actually entirely sure much was known about the Hittites at the time, though. I should have double-checked that, but I know we got a lot of Hittite discoveries right around the time this novel was released. Man, early 20th century would be a wild time to be alive, huh? Anyways, this story has great pacing, in my opinion. It doesn't waste any time. The first page or 2 may not be super exciting, but if you're bored by the setting, Vikings and Troy, I don't know what's wrong with you. Anyways, I thought it was awesome. This has several other characters. The acrobat Rala, there's also the Princess Ilya, the companion Volgard, even the Princess Ariadne, who you likely know from the Theseus myth. There is some romance here, which ties to the chivalry of the story. It can also be rather tragic and epic. In fact, the romance is tragic and triumphant in ways. There is much death, and some of the heroic feats are awesome to read, just awesome. and plenty of combat and action in the last half of the book for sure. We do lose some characters as well, so it's definitely not one of those that shies away, from death. But I also like how they don't worship Freyr or Odin, but they worship Tyr. And Tyr's name literally means God, and possibly hints at a more important cult in the past, which would fit maybe here, since this is, pre-Germanic society, Nordic Bronze Age culture anyways. So that's pretty cool. They got that right. They didn't even mention that part actually in the essay. So anyways, I will definitely be reading more by Bishop and Brodeur. I've already read some stories by Brodeur, his Fated in Serkman stories, which are set in medieval Aquitania and further afield. And I think those are awesome. But I think him and Bishop were big, best friends of sorts, and so they wrote a lot together. But I'll definitely be reading more by both of them. Anyways, this has been Leo Liam's Lyceum. I will catch you next time.